This is the Calcio FC podcast with me, David Ferrini, and Destination Calcio senior writers Dan Cancian and Emmet Gates. We're going to talk about the fourth managerial change at Sampdoria. We've had a comment straight away on TikToks. Blessed are those who believe, Roberto says. Emmet, can we believe in Sampdoria that they may get the salvezza, the salvation, after such a poor showing so far?
I don't know.
It's a big statement there.
Yeah, like me and Dan obviously were at, Italy.
You went to
weekend.
Spezia
We
Samp.
went to Spezia Samp at the weekend, and me and Dan were saying to each other, the first 15, 20 minutes, they weren't bad. But once Spezia went through the gears, Sampdoria looked absolutely hopeless.
The Lapadula gears.
Yeah, exactly. Once Lapadula got into the game, he obviously scored twice in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and Sam just offered nothing, and I think it surprised me and Dan in the fact that Genoa is not far from Spezia, La Spezia.
Ligurian derby.
Yeah, I mean, what are you talking between the two cities? Maybe 50 minutes, an hour?
No, it's about 2 hours, yeah.
Oh,
2 hours, yeah.
But it's reasonable enough to get there.
Yeah.
Sampdoria brought maybe 75 fans, 100 fans. We expected the away end to be packed to cheer on the lads.
A reflection of what happened on the field.
Exactly. And I think it kind of fed into that, the fact that there wasn't much noise coming from the Samp end. And I know Dan was very surprised because Dan expected Sampdoria to fill that end. Because me and you have been to see Spezia Bari, and Bari filled that end. And Bari's a long way from the Spezia.
Much further, yeah.
But Samp didn't. And I think that reflects the team and where they're at. And
so the fans don't believe?
I think so. There was no support really. There wasn't any noise emanating from that end, and I just think it all feeds into what's going on. And it's. I hate to say it because we all love Sampdoria, but I can't see them getting out of a situation. Yeah,
Kappa, the Asics. So we've also got the new one there. So this is the old Sampdoria. Dan and Emmet both wrote pieces, if you haven't seen them, on destinationculture.com. They covered Sampdoria on the weekend. So you actually wrote, Dan, you quoted something that Manfredi said, part of the ownership group there, that they've squandered some numerous chances to show what Sampdoria stands for. That's what he said. But what do they actually stand for, do you think? What are they standing for this season compared to these days? And we don't want to just make it results-based, this
chaos
assessment. But yeah, is it disorganization? There was so much conjecture over their descent when they got relegated. What we're seeing now that's bubbling up to the surface, obviously started long ago. So what do you think they're standing for this season? And how does that...
I don't think they know it themselves. Like, I wrote in my piece, there are two overwhelming feelings about Sampdoria this season. One is chaos, because you don't go through 3 managers or 4 managers now and 5 goalkeepers unless there is a sense of chaos pervading every aspect of the club. And the other is just apathy. As Emmet was saying, there was apathy. They've looked resigned to their own fate for a long, long time, and that starts from simplicity with the players and the fans, I think, because I thought it was telling on Sunday. The second goal went in. You normally see players reacting to conceding a goal, be it like a defender is screaming at goalkeeper or vice versa, or the manager trying to rallying them on. But simply just was motionless in the technical area, and the players weren't even looking at each other. And I said to him, surely we're going to hear the fans going mad at them. There was nothing of it. Even at the end, you know what it's like in Italy when a result doesn't go your way, and the players have to almost go under the curve or else.
And take the flak.
Yeah, they took some Sampdoria players took a couple of steps towards the away end, but there were no boos, no jeers. There was just
an acceptance that we're not very good.
Yeah, there's a resignation. I think that the end is inevitable.
They look like a team that they want to be put out of their misery. The end of the season can't come soon enough for them, one way or the other.
They had Serie A ambitions.
Yeah,
this was the season where they went and got big signings: Max Coda, Totino, and they've got a few more. Sevilla in January.
They've signed 27 players in the last 2 transfer windows.
So I don't think
27 players is an enormous amount.
Is it about the effort? Because I still think that symbolises that they had ambitions.
Yeah.
they didn't want to just stay in Serie B. This was a season where they want to get back into Serie A. The highlight of the season, I guess, was the win over Genoa in the Coppa Italia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they signed Mr. Serie B himself, Coda. Man who's got...
At 36, though, is a different Coda to 33 or even last season.
Yeah.
Like, he's not getting the same... Eventually, you slow down.
I was saying to Emmet at the weekend, we've obviously seen huge clubs going down. You've seen the likes of Napoli going down, Fiorentina going down, Torino going down. But there was always, obviously the likes of Leeds, Birmingham, Newcastle, but it was always financial malpractice.
Yeah, it was always a big, chasm where you just seen them just go bang, bang, and straight to the bottom.
Yeah.
This is a slow deflation.
This is just football ineptitude. They are awful.
Yeah. I mean,
Ferrero was a big part
big
of
point.
where they are now, though.
I think...
It's as though he wanted to see them. There's schadenfreude about him. He wants to see them suffer.
Yeah.
A lot of their fans think.
Yeah. And I think we're at a point now where we are looking at Sampdoria being the biggest team in Italian football history to play in Serie C, not due to bankruptcy, but just being shockingly bad on the pitch.
They're one of 7 Serie A sides that have won of Scudetto since, the late 80s.
Yeah.
So we're talking your Milans, your Napolis. To put it into context for new Calcio fans that don't realise, this is like Everton, who won the first division in the 80s. This is them slowly deflating into the third division. They've been on the brink of going to the championship for a while, but to get to the championship is one thing, but then to sort of bob around and maybe not get promoted straight back up is another. But they're in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
And the bottom 5 are in jeopardy in Serie B. So this is not, maybe they'll just avoid the bottom 3 drop zone. This is the bottom 5 you need to avoid in Serie B.
And I think that, and we've been saying this for months now, that there has always been a sense of they are too big to go down. And even now, reading between the lines, are like, but there's 6 games left. There's only 2 points between them and safety. But there's nothing going for them. No. They are shockingly bad.
They haven't won in 2 months. They've only won 2 games.
They can't score goals to save their lives.
They can't score now,
No.
Yeah. Even Niang, that he's come in, he's had an impact. But if it wasn't for him, where would they be?
And now he's injured. Yeah. He's injured this week, so he might miss the weekend's game.
Yeah, and as Emmet was saying on Sunday, it was a case of obviously Spezia needed 3 points to keep the pressure on Pisa, but the first 40 minutes, it was a fairly even game. But then it's almost as Spezia realised, hang on, this lot are terrible. We can put them away with ease. Yeah. And they did.
And the second half, it could have been 4 or 5.
They battered them.
Because Spezia is showing a little bit of stage fright as well, because they're in the top 3.
Yeah.
So let's just paint the picture. Spezia, top 3 club.
Yeah.
Former Serie A. I think they got relegated the same season as Samp did in 2023.
Yeah.
So, it's Spezia don't have this. They're not Calcio royalty. Let's put it that way. Like Sampdoria definitely in that. As I said, one of 7 clubs to win the Scudetto, and in the prime years of Serie A, we're talking the Maradona, Van Basten era.
Yeah. They won 7 trophies in 10 years in that stretch.
Won the Coppa Italia.
They won 4 Coppa Italias. They won the Cup Winners' Cup, the Scudetto, and the Super Coppa.
And they got to the final of the old European Cup and lost to Barcelona.
And they finished in the Coppa. They got to the finals of the Coppa Italia another 2 if not 3 times.
European Cup finalists as well against
Barca.
Barca.
This is an historic, massive club we're talking about. Yeah. They're by Genoa's older, but I think Sampdoria are bigger.
Well, Genoa haven't won anything for a century.
Yeah.
So.
But Genoa, by the time at the point, Genoa is footballing. Is massive football.
It's a massive club.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Sampdoria have been getting 26,000 on average this season.
And they've never been in Serie C. So we should add, they've never been in third division. They were the love child of 2 clubs in Genoa that combined, I think, Sampieridense,
Sampier Darenese and Andrea Doria.
There we go. And they came in 1946 and they were able to go straight into Serie B because football was reforming post-war, and they never dropped down into the third division. So it's almost as if taking Everton off the table, even a Liverpool, if Liverpool didn't have the conscientious management and everything that they've got about them, they could quite easily be in this Sampdoria position where you mismanage your club to the level where you just... we saw what happened with Mantovani's in the 90s. His son came in, couldn't keep them up. They had maybe they were paying some of the debts for winning, for having a glorious side.
Yeah, because I think was it 99 they went down? They brought in David Platt as a manager for a cup of coffee, and then they realized actually that David Platt didn't have any coaching qualifications. Luciano Spalletti was there, and then they went down. They came back up, and I wouldn't say they yo-yoed, but they weren't the force that they were.
They had a couple of years in Serie B.
This season they'd been in Serie B 5, spent 5 seasons in Serie B in 40 years. So even though the glory days have long gone, they were
a regular Serie A fixture.
Yeah.
Well, this is, to me, it's like a slow, deflated process. We saw Napoli at the same time win everything that they won. Then they went fully bankrupt around the same time that Sampdoria went to Serie B.
Yeah.
But they reformed, and I guess it's about the ownership.
Exactly. I think it starts and ends with the owner. Napoli, as you pointed out, David, they got a really De Laurentiis, smart man, canny operator. Sampdoria have just, since Paolo Mantovani died in 1993, they've just went from bad owner to bad owner to bad owner.
Yeah.
And that's why they're in this situation.
Yeah, and Manfredi was, the proverbial, knight on the white horse when he rescued them from almost going bankrupt when they went down.
There's only so much you can do.
But now, all the credit he had has been long drawn this season, because if they're going down, then, they've not had financial problems in Serie B, but if they go down, then the financial realities will kick in. Because
well, let's talk about what's happening now. This week, after that loss to Spezia where you guys were, they brought in some of the expendables, some of the superheroes from the past that used to wear these shirts, and they're trying to resuscitate this one here. We've got Attilio Lombardo. It's going to be by the side of Alberico Evani, 2 former Samp legends. They've won silverware there, Coppa Italia. Roberto Mancini, Dan, I believe, as well.
Yeah, he's in as a consultancy basis. He's a friend. Well, Manfredi describes him as a friend. I'm not sure whether Mancini will reciprocate that, but he's part of the setup.
Well, Liguria is known for rain. Is there any sunshine coming now? Is the rain over?
I would like to say yes, because I would love to see Samp stay up for a variety of reasons.
A bounce, perhaps.
Everything they've tried has failed, so you might as well go for the vibes, and that's all they've got left, really.
Yeah. I mean, if you go through 4 managers in a season, it tells you all. And I think...
And you were there from the start.
Yeah, and I do think, obviously, David, me and you were there for Salernitana, Sampdoria, and it was Pirlo's last game.
Third game of the season.
Third game of the season. I think, in retrospect, that was a sliding doors moment. They should have just stuck with Pirlo. He guided them to 7th last year in Serie B.
Got them to the playoffs.
And then 3 games into the season, they sack him, and they've never really recovered.
Yeah. Is that sacking somewhat... Is it symbolic to their ambition at the start of the season? We haven't won a game yet, so we're getting rid of you.
Yeah.
We want to win. We want to win. We want to win. We want only victories with this squad. We want to got you the players that you said you wanted. You haven't won yet. So... we're getting rid of you.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Sottil, who's Serie A experience recently as well with Udinese. He got, 2 months? Then they brought in Semplici in December.
Yeah.
So we're talking an impatient. It feels like they were impatient.
Yeah.
And it feels like maybe there was some pressure to make some moves. The chess pieces need to be moved. If we're not getting the results, if we're down the bottom half of the table, why? Someone's got to lose their head. And I guess the 4th managerial change now, and you don't want to be in that boat where you're the coach that could take them down to Serie C.
Well, yes, I do think that Evani, I think that's why they've gone for Evani. Evani hasn't managed anyone at senior level. He's managed Milan's academy, Italy under 18, under 19. I think it's a smart move from Manfredi, because if you're going to have someone who takes Sampdoria down to Serie C, might as well be a club legend, because everyone connected with Sampdoria know that it's not going to be his fault anyway. It's not Evani's fault.
Who else is going to take the job?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Take it.
No
if you're an aspiring coach, would you want to take that job?
No,
unless you're coming from Serie C to take it.
That's why they were linked with Giuseppe Iacchini, who's
Serie B experience,
Serie B experience, and Andrea Azzoli as well. It's sort of a bit like Sam Allardyce of Serie B, coming in, putting fire out.
Good old Sam.
Yeah.
Is he available?
Well, how's the wine in Genoa?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, well, there you go. You might
get a bit of farinata into him as well.
Might be able to swing him. But no, listen, I don't... Look, Evani is going to have all the supports of Sampdoria fans, which is more than Samp would have had had he stayed in charge for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to see it on DCTV this weekend.
Yeah, you're going to get a massive crowd in Marassi.
Sampdoria Cittadella,
But
we should add.
it's
1-2.
Yeah, now in a situation where they're not in charge of their own destiny, so they may win every game between now and the end of the season. They may still go down anyway.
Yeah. And I think it's similar. Bringing in Evani is similar to Roma, bringing in Ranieri.
Yeah.
Club legend. He's a lightning rod. The Samp fans are not really going to get angry at him because of the situation. Yeah. So it's, and as we've said before on this show, God knows how many times, Serie B is so competitive. Samp just need a couple of wins. If they could just get 2 wins.
How many wins do they need to stay up? 3 wins, you think, out of the 6? At least to make the play out, I should say.
Yeah.
I think they need to get at least...
At minimum 3.
Match day 38 against Salernitana, who are second last.
That's the game we went to.
That is like their Champions League final, I guess.
It is. It's effectively it's a shootout.
Because once you go to third division,
yeah,
there goes a lot of your cash flow.
Yeah,
you have to reduce the ticket prices. You lost. It depends. Sometimes you need a full rebirth.
I reckon they'll need at least 10 points to stay up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, you would imagine Salernitana are done. So they might have nothing to play for. So that could potentially be a victory. But again, it all depends on what Reggiana do, what Cosenza do. But it is so competitive. Serie B is so competitive. You just need a couple of wins. And
Cosenza's probably done.
Yeah, there is also the fact that when you lose as many games as Samp have done, you can't just, flick a switch and say, okay, we're going to start winning games.
Yeah, they do have the talent. They've got a decent squad. And they brought in Sibili in January. They've got some Serie A experience in the back. They brought in Cragno in goal.
They have a good squad, but I don't think any of those players are used to it.
They're just not gelling, are they? Or there's something missing when they go forward. They don't really have anything. They don't have any fire going forward at all. And there was a couple of good goals that they have scored. I think they beat Modena 1-0 at home, and there was a beautiful little interaction that Niang eventually tapped home from close range. But some good passing from the right half space back into the middle, penalty spot. They were able to create space and create an angle for shots, and they need more of that if they're going to stay up.
Niang did show glimpses in the first 10-15 minutes, and then he just kind of petered out.
And if there is a man that's going to do it, look what he did for Empoli last season. He kept them up.
Yeah, true.
So he can score goals at crucial moments.
But sorry, just to interrupt. I think their signings, they've signed too many players. Like Semplici was in charge for 16 games and he used 34 players. There is no plan.
Yeah, you can't get...
They've gone top heavy because the midfield reinforcements perhaps needed to be strengthened rather than just the front 3.
Yeah.
And then Totino, he was saying he got injured.
He was injured,
big loss.
Yeah.
Totino and Coda are still their top 2 goal scorers, and Totino hasn't played in 3 months.
Yeah. Will Niang beat Coda at the end of the season? He's only been there for half the season. But on Twitter, Gills71 says, after watching Sampdoria showing so much passion this season, which is positive for them, but he can't say that he's seen the same from Sampdoria. He says they're doomed.
I mean, we hope not, but...
That was before the new coach announcement, though, this comment.
I mean, based on the showing on Sundays, they are doomed.
So is Alberico Evani the part of the team that might help them rise up? We're going to find out this Saturday. It is a 4:15 kickoff, I believe, BST, 12:15 EDT, daylight time coming in there, live from the Stadio Luigi Ferraris. And we're going to show you that. It's in Genoa, nice little town. We put up the photos of the Scalinata Montaldo in the Genoa colours there. We've climbed them a couple of times, Dan, you and I. We went and saw Sampdoria play at home and then Genoa the next day. It was one heck of a climb. It's, again, symbolic of what Sampdoria need to do.
Yeah, it's probably as big a climb as their face.
Otherwise, the players would be taken up the top and maybe tumble down.
Yeah.
Look, it's a situation there where we wish Sampdoria fans all the best. We've been looking at a lot of the social interactions about what the fans think after the loss to Spezia. Not good. These two were there to see it firsthand. Go and read their articles on destinationculture.com. And, of course, engage with us on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, and TikTok as well, and YouTube, of course.